Welcome to Our Darlingtown, the podcast where we explore the heart and soul of Darlington through its local independent businesses and the people that make it special. I'm James Carver.
I'm Henry Carver, and we're here to shine a spotlight on our beloved town. Join us as we sit down with the passionate local people to delve into their stories and uncover the unique contributions they make to our community and to find out about the town where we live.
Get ready to be inspired by the people and stories that make Darlington truly special.
Okay, here we are, Season 3, Episode 5. We have on this episode Julian Cound, the, what's his official title?
Marketing Officer of the Hippodrome, and we
Brilliant.
discuss all things theatre, musicals, ghosts, why theatres are built next to fire stations. I never knew that.
Yeah, a few behind-the-scenes secrets.
Celebrities, Have you ever been starstruck?
Absolutely, I have. Brilliant, a fantastic episode. Give it a listen. Here it comes.
Joining us today is Julian Cound, the Marketing Officer at the Hippodrome Darlington. Julian is a key figure in keeping the spotlight shining bright on the Hippodrome's incredible productions and events, from pantomimes to West End tours, and from community outreach to audience development. Julian is right at the heart of it all. We'll be diving into the world of theatre marketing, exploring the Hippodrome's role in the region's cultural life, and hearing some of the stories that make this venue so special. So whether you're a theatre lover, a local history buff, or just curious about what goes on backstage, you're in for a treat. Julian, warm welcome.
What a welcome.
No pressure
Even
now.
I believe the hype. No pressure.
So what happens backstage? That's what we want to know.
Oh, what happens backstage stays backstage.
Sensible answer.
No, it's... Do you know what? I feel so fortunate. I was born into a very musical theatrical family. And whilst both my two older sisters went into the theatre as a profession, I was the only one that was sensible and didn't. And so my kind of history goes through graphic design and marketing, and that's my kind of background. But I've always had a desire and a passion to perform. My parents ran a community theatre company down in Loughborough, where I'm from. And so I was kind of born into that. So in my later years now, to be working in such a beautiful theatre as the Hippodrome, working in marketing, which brings on the skills that I had as a younger person, it's like a dream come true. And it's lovely to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. What the audience sees is the end product of months and months and months of really, really hard work that goes into producing either professional West End tour, or even just a single one-nighter tribute band. The amount of work and effort that goes into it, the audience pay the money to see the end product, and it's amazing. But to see the amount of hard work that goes on behind the scenes, it's a completely different world. It's a world of darkness, and there's few people who are privileged enough to see that side. But no,
and pretty long hours, I imagine, in the run-up to... shows.
Well, and during the show, if you imagine it, particularly for the one-nighters that come in, they literally turn up in a town, unload the van, set all the sound and lighting and band equipment, do the show, and as soon as the curtain comes down, bang, all that equipment has to get taken out, back into the van, drive to the next town, and it's just relentless. The hours is unbelievable. Yeah. But the returns that you get as a performer, but also getting the buzz from the audience, knowing that you've made a theatre full of people, you've made their night, kind of thing. It's all worthwhile.
So, what does your role as marketing officer involve? What's your day to day?
There's no day is the same. Realistically, dare I say it, our main job is getting bums on seats as the marketing team at the Hippodrome. So we are what's called a receiving house. So we don't produce any theatre per se. Theatre touring shows book a date, come to us as part of their UK tour. And from that point on, once a contract is signed and the deal is done, we liaise with the production company to say, right, how much money have you got to give to us to sell tickets on your behalf? So that's the initial negotiation, because I've been at the theatre now for, 10, I think this is my 11th year in this position. And like so many things, the amount of money that's going around is getting less and less and less, but people are expecting more and more and more from that. So we have to be creative. Well, we have to be creative in getting as much money from the production company as possible, but then it's being really, really creative in using that money in the best possible way to reach the best audience for that particular show. I mean, an audience for, let's say, a tribute act to Fleetwood Mac is completely different to an audience who want to come and see the Magic of Motown or something like that. So it's understanding your audience, and we've got a lot of data on audiences who, as soon as we know that an audience or an individual comes to see a certain amount of shows, we can gauge what they would be interested in, and it's just a case of targeting the right people to give them the information that there may well be a show that they may well be interested in, and to big it up like you've just bigged up myself in an introduction, just to say this is going to be an absolutely fabulous show. We appreciate, money's tight, and theatre tickets aren't necessarily the cheapest. We like to think that we're relatively the cheapest theatre in the region, but
best value, cheap and
well, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
best value, definitely.
Very, very good value. But like you say, and it's just encouraging people to part with their money to come and have an absolutely amazing night at the theatre.
So how do you go about targeting those people? Is it a lot of like online targeting, if you like? You can.
Do you know what? Just literally in the last 10 years, the way that marketing happens has completely changed. When I first started, I mean, social media was at infancy, realistically. Now, I would say a majority of our marketing is done online. That's where our biggest spend goes. That's not to say that traditional marketing, such as newspaper advertising, radio advertising, stuff like that, isn't important. But like I said before, the amount of money that we are getting from production companies is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So the more exposure you can get for your buck, which I don't know whether I should say specific things, but meta advertising, stuff like that, you can reach such a wide audience for relatively small amounts of money, and it works. It absolutely works, and so that's really where our focus is.
On an average year, how many shows are the Hippodrome putting out?
Gosh, that as part of the marketing team, that should be a figure I should be able to pull off and say, bang, bang, bang. Well, put it this way. At any one time, there's 3 marketing officers, and we share the shows between us. And at any one time, at the moment, I'm handling about 35 shows myself. So times that by 2 more, so that's about 100 shows. But that's literally so I would say around 300-400 shows a year that come, because we obviously do shows that go to the Hullabaloo, and obviously then you've got the big huge panto which we all work on as well. So there's a fair few. There's a fair few shows. There's never a dark night at the theatre. Relatively few dark nights at the theatre when there's nothing happening. It's busy.
And you joined 11 years ago, you say. Remind me, when was the full refurbishment done? Was that before or after your...
That was just after... As I joined, I think we were just waiting to get the approval that we got the Heritage Lottery funding for it. So, I started just before the work started. So it was 2016, 2017 was when the actual works were done, when the theatre actually closed for 18 months. And whilst that does seem like yesterday, just to say, actually that was 10 years ago. But when you actually look at the theatre, you go into the theatre and you look around, you think, this doesn't look 10 years old.
No, it's an amazing building.
It still looks absolutely pristine, all the new stuff that has been done. And the beautiful thing that they did as part of the restoration is that beautiful mix between keeping the old part of the theatre and adding the glass and the chrome and stuff. But it's been done beautifully, and it hasn't aged. And it's like I said before, it's just such a privilege to work there and to go in there day in, day out. And I always do try and make an effort at least once a day just to walk through the auditorium, just to keep it real. Say, actually, this is what it's all about. There's nothing as sad as an empty auditorium, but there's nothing as beautiful as an empty auditorium, knowing that literally in 3 or 4 hours' time, this is just going to be completely full and rocking, and particularly now with Rocky Horror Show on this week. The audiences are just crazy, and that's what theatre's all about.
Rocky Horror Show is brilliant. We went to see
You need to
that
lean
in-
forward. Come on.
We went to see that in Sunderland, didn't we?
We did.
Did
you dress up?
Did we get dressed up?
We didn't.
I think we bottled it.
However, having watched the Rocky Horror Show, we then went to a fancy dress party, and I dressed up as Frankenfurter. So, there are images out there, I'm sure.
Yes, there
We are not putting them online.
Everyone has their inner Frankenfurter that they want to just let loose, if not, just once a lifetime. Yeah, no, it's got to be done.
You were jealous. You were like, "Why didn't you tell me?"
I know. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
It was very good.
So doing the refurbishment, you mentioned the money from the Lottery Heritage Fund. That because we've been lucky enough to do a backstage tour, and you've given us various different insights into the behind the scenes and all the facilities that it now has. Needless to say, the refurbishment has allowed for much larger productions and larger stars, I guess, which will then in turn draw the crowds.
That was absolutely part and parcel of the whole process of needing this. As much as the theatre was absolutely beautiful, the parts of it that were getting tired and not fit for purpose for modern shows. So yes, the absolute main thrust of getting the restoration done was to improve the parts of the theatre where we could then accept the bigger touring shows coming in. The biggest factor of that was the actual capacity of the theatre. So I'll get my figures. There'll be people sitting in the theatre thinking, "Oh, Julian, you've got the figures absolutely wrong again." So these are kind of approximate. So before restoration, the capacity of the theatre was about 875. Let's say 900. Now, the big theatre production companies will not even consider bringing their show to a theatre unless it had a minimum capacity of 1,000. So the benchmark for us was during the restoration, we had to get to that 1,000 capacity. How we did that, and interestingly enough, people think, well, how can you get over 100 more seats in the theatre without making the leg room and everything tighter? In actual fact, the way that it's been done, the leg room throughout the entire theatre is better than it was previously. And the whole atmosphere of the auditorium as an audience member is so much better. The air conditioning's been upgraded in the upper circle. But people always tend to say, "Oh, don't go into the upper circle." It's the upper circle at the Hippodrome is this, no word of a lie, is probably the best place to sit at the theatre. But so few people, for some reason, want to be up there. The view is amazing. But every single seat up in the upper circle is individually air conditioned. So if you think, "Oh, don't go up there because heat rises, it's always hot and sweaty," not in the Hippodrome. It's not. Every seat is individually air conditioned up there.
Wow.
So yes, so the capacity was increased. So it would allow those production companies to say, "Yeah, actually, we'll look at the Hippodrome as part of our UK tour diary." So yes, so bigger shows, much like the Rocky Horror Show, and. Also, the size of the part of the stage that the audience never get to see has vastly increased. There's a huge new dock area, whereas before a tour would come in and the trucks would be unloaded. I don't know how we did it before restoration. I look at some shows that we used to have, and I'm thinking, how on earth did we get all this equipment into the Civic as it was at the time? Where did all the stuff go? But now we've got this beautiful, probably twice the size of the room that we're in now, for equipment to come in to get stored. Trucks of scenery that get moved on and off the stage can be placed and stored in this area and just move on and off stage. So that in itself, doubling the size of the kind of the sets that we can accommodate. But also the flying system, which is the system of ropes where scenery gets flown in and out, that was completely upgraded, which means that we can now accommodate the much heavier, because sets are now getting heavier and heavier. The way that modern theatre is going, people want that huge experience, and so the sets are getting bigger and heavier. We can accommodate that. So yeah, we are never ever going to get the big. Wicked's never going to come to us. Les Mis is never going to, because the show is just too big. Whilst our stage is big, it's not huge. Yeah. But also on the financial side, what the theatre production company is going to say, do you know what? Should we go to another venue in the northeast that's got 2,000 plus seats and we can sell out there? Or should we, I wish they did come to Darlington as well. I mean, that is our aim, that shows that do go to the likes of Sunderland and Newcastle. I believe that if they came to Darlington, we would fill the Hippodrome as well. There'll be no yes, there'll be slight crossover of audiences, but it's not going to be a case of, oh, well, if we come to Darlington, we're not going to sell out Sunderland. Yes, you will. I just wish that some theatre producers would actually give it a go and say, yeah, we're going to bring our show to Darlington and show the Darlington audiences what they've been missing. Yeah, so fingers crossed.
Are you allowed to have favourite shows?
Do you know what? Whenever someone says, what's your favourite show, I always say it depends what side of the bed I've got out of. If I'm in a really upbeat, or if I'm feeling really kind of low and down. Favourite shows that have, pro shows that have come to the theatre, my guilty pleasure is Joseph. I mean, people say, "Oh, come on, Joe! Surely you should pick something a little bit more highbrow." No, my guilty pleasure is that there is nothing more enjoyable than singing every single word, because I think everyone knows every single word, every single song in Joseph. You grow up with it. It's in the psyche.
Was it Lee Mead who was in the panto this year?
Yes.
Yeah. I went to see that.
Yeah. So
there's a good link.
Yeah, we absolutely. We were. Had some decent chats about Joseph and his whole process of getting there.
Did you ask him why he's cut his famous hair?
We daren't.
Is it thinning? Is that what it is?
No, I think it's just, it's a case of, if you've had those promo shots and they're really, really good promo shots, why go to the expense of getting some more done just because I've had a haircut, Yeah. But hey, it's very funny when you see someone's promo shots, and you always have a little bit of a giggle with them, and and that's the beautiful thing about Panto, is that the company are with us for nearly 5 weeks, because they rehearse in Darlington for about 10 days or so. Then they move into the theatre for technical rehearsals, and then they've got the kind of 3.5, 4 week run. So they become part of the Hippodrome family for about 5 weeks, and you get to know them really, really well. And you feel that you can just have a bit of I think some people aren't you starstruck, and I say, well, yeah, but the people at the end of the day, they're doing their job and you're doing your job, and obviously part of my job as part of the marketing is to liaise with press and media and get interviews done. So I have to, sometimes I do have to be to these people, look, time's pressing, we need to go. You've got to, it's business. You've got to say, right, it's time. So I haven't got an issue with going up to these, stars and saying, no, let's finish it now. We need to get off. We need to get to the next thing, and just treat them as normal people. But it is nice that you do get to know them, and then you can delve a bit deeper and have sometimes some very deep conversations with them, which remain between the two of us naturally. But yeah, no, it's really interesting getting to know some of the people who you think might be a very, very ebullient and out there, and they're just very normal, shy people. I think you'll be surprised how many performers are actually very.
And when the curtain goes up, they perform.
Absolutely.
They're obviously
when the lights go on and the costume and the makeup is there, they just turn into somebody else. That's the skill of acting. Yeah.
Yeah. Who you mentioned a few sort of, well, you didn't mention the stars, but who would you class as, for the average person on the street, the biggest stars that have come to Darlington?
Historically, I mean, Ken Dodd is probably one of the biggest names, world-renowned names of comedy that regularly came to the Hippodrome, and people got their money's worth. I mean, you do hear the stories, and I've experienced it, that you could just, not just at the Hippodrome, everything, you just could not get Ken Dodd off the stage, literally. There'd be people still in the theatre 1 o'clock in the morning, and
really?
he'd still be going. And he just loved people to get their money's worth, and the crew and the staff at the theatre just didn't mind, because they knew it was going to happen, and they were up for it. And obviously, bless his heart, he's no longer with us. But whenever Ken was booked in, and he was booked in to play the Hippodrome, unfortunately he died shortly before. There were people queuing up saying, "I want to work the shift, because it's just such a great night." I was fortunate. So fortunate, and it'll stay with me till my dying day. The last time that Ken did come to the Hippodrome, I was there helping him from his car. I mean, so many people think, oh, stars, they must travel with entourages and beautiful cars. And Ken and Anne just turned up in this truck, this van. I couldn't even explain what it was. It was kind of a truck van thing, and everything was just shoved in the back. But they knew exactly where everything was, and everything was treated with respect. And Kevin was just helping them unload the truck and get into dressing room 1. It was in the Civic as it was, and helping him up the stairs, because then there was lots of stairs to get into the dressing rooms. And he was very frail, but very still switched on. Got him in. Do you want a water, cup of tea, I'd love a glass of water. So going to get a glass of water, bring it back to him, and he just started asking me questions. Just me and him in his dressing room, and literally he gave me a comedy routine for half an hour, free of charge. I'm thinking, I was just there thinking, okay, keep going.
That was his warm up.
Well, absolutely, and if that was it, but like you say, it's just certain experiences like that which you will just never forget. But yeah, I mean, it's like you say, Lee Mead. People might think who's Lee Mead, but he's huge in musical theatre. Yeah. We've got Brendan Cole coming for Panto this coming year in Goldilocks. So fans of Strictly will know Brendan. Mm. So so many come through the door. You think, oh yes, I'd forgotten that so and so had come. But we get some amazing people.
You've got lots of signatures and doodles on the screen that comes down.
Yes.
On the curtain.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tradition, particularly at the Hippodrome, that when the safety curtain comes down, which is big iron, we don't really need it, but it's a lovely thing. It's a fire safety curtain, and we try and get as many people who come to see the shows just to sign it with a Sharpie on the back. And then we sometimes stick show posters up, particularly Panto posters, and people sign it. It's just lovely for people to take a look at that and think, actually, no, I remember that show. That was something special. When Blood Brothers comes around every now and again, and they sign it. But no, it's a lovely tradition, and it'll continue well after I'm gone, hopefully.
Mm. And one thing that we learned when we did the backstage tour is there's a gradient on the slope, on the stage, sorry. Yeah, which is, I mean, it makes complete sense. So the audience gets a better view.
Absolutely. It's all about sight lines. So the rake of the stage, ours isn't particularly steep. It's not the steepest, but it's not the shallowest either. And I think when you walk on the stage, as you do, you instantly feel it. And if you're not used to walking on the stage, naturally, I've been on the stage very early, so it doesn't feel any different to me. But I think for some people who that's their first time, the first thing they see is, oh my gosh, the stage is angled. So yeah, it's absolutely all about sight lines. So which is where upstage and downstage, the whole theatrical terms come from. So you're walking up the hill, as it were, working upstage towards the back of the stage and downstage towards the front of the stage, and it's all to do with sight lines. So the audience is raked, you're raked, so everyone has the best view, can see people who are at the back of the stage as well as the front of the stage. It's just a bit of theatrical magic, really, that you don't realise when you're in the audience, because it just looks like a flat stage, realistically. But yeah, it's quite pronounced when you actually do walk on.
Yeah, unless you've been on a backstage tour.
Unless you've been on a backstage tour.
And do you do those regularly?
We do them as regularly as we can.
Yeah.
Obviously, information on that is all either in the brochure or on the website when we do some. But if there's businesses out there who want to give their employees something different to do, or just call us up and we'll arrange something. We'll get you slotted in. Absolutely.
Yeah, fab. What are the secrets? Can you tell us from that backstage tour that the average person wouldn't necessarily know?
Oh, secrets.
Or bits of history, facts.
It is quite interesting when you do start doing those tours, and I've taken several of them, and facts then suddenly keep coming back to you. It's just simple things like theatres of the age that the Hippodrome is. If you go to any theatre of that age in any town, whilst it might not still be there, but generally it was built next to a fire station, because theatres used to have candles as lighting sources, and obviously candles and lots of dry wood and scenery and cloths and stuff don't really mix particularly well. So the amount of theatres that used to burn down is huge, which is why a lot of them either built a fire station next to them or built their theatre next to the fire station so that if anything should happen, the fire brigade are right next door. And obviously that's the same with the Hippodrome. The fire station was originally next door, which is now the Theatre Hullabaloo. Yeah. What other interesting? But the ventilation system. I always point that out. That if you go to the theatre on a regular basis, don't just look at the stage. Have a look at the ceiling. It's a beautiful sun burner. It's got twinkling lights, which replicates what were the burning candles, and that basically used to suck up all the stale air of an audience's. When you can imagine, when the theatre first opened, 1907, whilst the capacity now is just over 1,000, the capacity in 1907 was over 2,000. Yeah, they just shoved them in. It was just benches in the upper circle and just shoving them in. So, and personal hygiene in those days probably wasn't as good as it is now. So can you imagine, and there'd be people there smoking pipes, smoking cigars, smoking whatever. Animals would have come into the auditorium as well. People would have gone to the market, either bought or sold some animals, and on the way back, I'll just nip into the theatre to see the music hall.
Take your pig to a show.
So absolutely. So you can imagine the smell of the place wasn't as so obviously all that stale smoke and smell had to go somewhere. So yeah, the sun burner in the ceiling was the original ventilation system, just sucking it all up and out through the roof. And the ghosts are always ghosts are. I mean, people as soon as you say, "Oh yes, we're haunted," suddenly people get interested. Really, where have you seen a ghost? I said, "Yeah." Well, I've not seen one. I've heard one, but I know 3 or 4 people who have experienced and seen some of our ghosts. They're not scary ghosts. No theatre ghosts are ever scary. They're not there to scare you. They're there to look after the theatre, to make sure that it's running as it should do. It's sometimes a little bit, because there was the ghost that I heard in the old dressing room 12, I think it was, pre-restoration, is a girl crying through the wall. There was nothing the other side of the wall, but I heard that. It was a bit. Well, so when I say ghosts aren't scary, that was I was on my own. I think, but no. But no, there's so many stories of the ghosts of the theatre, and they're wonderful stories, and people get so interested. And as soon as if we post anything on social media, anything to do with ghosts, you know, the likes and the comments just go skyrocketing. Yeah,
absolutely. Did you ever perform yourself?
Yeah, I still do.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I was born into this theatrical family, so I've been in and around performing in theatre. I think I was first put on stage when I was 6. My parents were directing a show, and they needed a little page boy for a wedding scene. I think there's a photograph of me in this lovely purple velour 3-piece suit as a page boy, and it's you get the bug. It is. When people say, "Oh, did you get the theatre bug?" Yes, you do. It's something that is just ingrained in you, and you need to keep having that. Let's call it a drug. And so I joined my parents' society as a performing member when I was 16, and I've just been doing it every year since. And I was fortunate enough when I moved up here 20 odd years ago. I knew about Darlington Operatic Society because I knew some of the members. From various events that I'd been to. I knew that they had a very, very good reputation. So I actually timed my move up here to coincide with their new member auditions. So I need to move up to Darlington in time for that. So as soon as I moved up, I auditioned for them. Was fortunate enough to get in, and they haven't got rid of me since. So we're 4 weeks today. We open with everybody's talking about Jamie.
Brilliant.
So yeah, it's still there, and it's there's nothing quite like performing. It gives so much adrenaline. It gives so much a buzz, but also to be part of a creative team, not just the performers that are around you, but the director, the MD, the costume team, the technical team. It's creating that amazing family of people. To produce a show to give so much enjoyment to a lot of people. And I just love being a part of it. And I'll still do it as long as they want me to be a part of it. It's just a joy, but also just to be able to do this at the Hippodrome.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just don't realise how fortunate they are to be able to perform there. And every time that we move into the theatre, we always take the people that have joined us as new members and probably haven't performed with us before at the Hippodrome. We say, right, just take it all in. Let's just get on the stage, suck it all in, because this is going to be something special for you. And it's just makes great memories.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to go and see Shrek a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Outstanding performance from Darlington Operatic Society.
Yeah.
We were blown away. We were not expecting such a professional show, if I'm honest with you, and it was outstanding. So
you obviously got the check. Thank you very much indeed. No, honestly, I mean, because I'm the current chairman of the company. I can't stress how proud I am of the association that I've got, and it's all tantamount to the way that every single person in the team approaches it, to want it to be the best it can possibly be. There's an old sign on a wall where somewhere I used to work where "it'll do, won't do." I think that's the adage of DOS, is the fact that it'll do gets us to about 80%.
Yeah.
We always try to get as close to 100% as possible, because, like I said before, people are parting with their hard-earned cash to come and see us. We can't give them 80%. They deserve 100%. So. Yeah, we just work hard to get people to understand that and be part of that, and they get so much more out of it if they do push themselves. So it's all about pushing and learning, and helping everyone else improve. That's what it's all about.
And you mentioned Theatre Hullabaloo. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, that is kind of a separate entity to the Hippodrome. They've got their own team. They create their own theatre. So it's kind of two completely separate companies, but we just share the same building realistically. But really, quite simply, Theatre Hullabaloo create theatre for children. And I say I can't say too much because I'm not part of that company. I wouldn't be able to give you all the ins and outs. But theatre is just so important from such an early age to education, just joy, the whole and play and being part of it, and growing confidence. Just kids going to see a show to realise that great stories can be told through theatre, and there's so much learning can be had by going to the theatre. Interaction with the people that you're watching it with, interaction with the people that are actually performing. So it's a great team to have in Darlington, and again, we as the Hippodrome, we facilitate evening shows. Obviously, with the children's shows, they generally happen during the day, and we facilitate some evening performances, generally stand-up comedy, because it's a lovely, intimate venue for that. So if there's anyone out there who either doesn't know or hasn't heard of the Hullabaloo, give it a go, because it's not just theatre productions that go on there. There's loads of workshops, loads of different things that happen there.
Yeah, there's a big sort of central cafe area, isn't there? Great for parents with prams, and meet for a coffee, go to a sensory room, and go for a show on the side, so to speak. Or
so much on offer, even if it is just to drop in. Yeah. As much as the Hippodrome is now, pre-restoration. If we had a full show on, a matinee show that was absolutely jam-packed full of people, you'd never know, because you would walk past the Hippodrome and there were no external windows. You wouldn't even know it was open. Yeah. Whereas now, with the whole glass frontage, we've got our Hippo Cafe. That's open from 10 o'clock in the morning now, so again, just drop in for a coffee. But if there's a full audience in there and you're walking or driving past, you can see how vibrant that place is now just by walking past it and taking a look in. You don't just have to be going to the theatre to come into the Hippodrome. We've got the galleries where you can go and see the galleries change every 6-7 months or so of the stuff that's in there. And just to drop in, have a coffee. I've even seen businesses just drop in holding interviews in the cafe, because grab a cup of coffee, free Wi-Fi, and let's hold some interviews.
It's a great meeting venue. We've had the room upstairs. We've hired that a couple of times for various meetings that we've had, and would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I, like I say, that was also part and parcel of the restoration, is to make it a much more usable venue, not just for businesses. It's not all about that. You know, we've got some great groups, community groups that use the venue on a regular basis, and some groups have grown. I mean, literally, I think it was about 2 years ago. There's a group was set up called Monday Movers. It was just to be a bit of an exercise class for the over 65s. Nothing heavy. They could sit on a chair and do exercises and do some dance and movement. And I think initially 7-8 people turned up to the first few classes. We now have 2 full sessions of about 18 people per session. And then after they stay behind after each session. They coffee and cakes afterwards. They do their own kind of social activities and go. It's just been this whole kind of amazing community of 65 plus people just enjoying their company and getting out of the house and seeing new people, trying new things and keeping fit. That's just gone crazy. It's great.
Fantastic. Your connection and partnerships with local businesses as well in the Darlington business community. You've got quite a few businesses that support you.
Well, that's one thing that we never really historically did in the past. And again, about two years ago it was, my boss approached me to say, do you know what we're missing out on, Julian? I said, what's that? I said, corporate partnerships, and it's not all about the money. It is about building relationships with other companies who can then spread our word to their employees, their suppliers, their audiences, just basically to help each other out. And they said, so what we'd like you to do is go out there and build relationships with loads of local companies, because you've got the gift of the gab, you can do that. And I'm thinking, do you know what? If only you knew how difficult. They said, yeah, but you perform, you go on site. I said, yeah, but like as we said before, I have a script, I have a costume, I have a character. I'm not Julian on stage. Do you know that's not me? That's the character. I said, oh no, so yes, for the last 2 years. or so, I've been going out to all these networking events and meeting guys like yourselves and other business leaders. And yeah, it's stressful, but it's enjoyable at the time. And yeah, we've brought on board built quite a few successful relationships with businesses, and we're so thankful that they've come on board supporting us, and we support them as well. And it's a great relationship to have. But yeah, if anyone's interested, get in touch.
Yeah, we obviously know about your sustainability initiative that's coming soon. We'd like to tell the listeners about.
Yeah, well, again, part and parcel of the restoration was to ensure that we were an eco-friendly venue, realistically, and loads of initiatives, and we've just joined the Deep initiative in Darlington, which is a group of local businesses getting together to share ideas of how we can reach net zero in a certain time frame. And it's simple things like all the lights on the theatre, the external theatre, they're all LED, low power. We've just had a new boiler system, a new eco-friendly boiler system involved. Most of the lights in the venue are motion censored, so as soon as you walk out of the room, the light switches off. Haven't got to remember simple things. You haven't got to remember to switch the lights off when you go out. Our brochure, we produce 3 season brochures a year. We're now looking, whilst we've had initiatives of creating fewer of them and mailing fewer of them out, we're now even reducing the pagination of the brochure, making it more of a marketing tool rather than a book to read with loads and loads of words. So it's just simple things like that might sound simple, but with the amount of, let's say, the amount of brochures that we produce, just taking 10 pages out of it can make such a big difference. The whole recycling process, and dare I say it, we're now moving into kind of multi-use plastics, which I know you guys are involved with. So we're moving into the cups that we use in the bars. I think there's about 4 or 5 bars at the theatre. So the cups, to be able to take plastic cups to take into the auditorium to enjoy a drink in the auditorium, up to now, they've just been single-use and throw away. So we're now investing in multi-use plastic cups, which will have a shelf life of around a year. So again, that's just going to save so much plastic wastage. So it's just simple things, but make such a big difference. Yeah.
It does make a big difference, absolutely. And you've got your spring brochure there. What exciting shows have we got coming up?
Well, yeah, we've got the spring brochure. This is actually coming towards the end of its life. Just as we speak, we are working on the summer brochure.
Yeah.
As I say, we've got Rocky Horror Show on at the moment. There's a great production of Dracula coming up soon. Lots of one-nighters. Dare I say, we've got Jamie coming up in 4 weeks. A subtle plug there. And we, as a theatre that is so ingrained in the community, we try and put on such a wide variety of productions. So we're not going to be... Everyone's not going to love everything that we do, but we've got to make sure that we've got a heady mix of, there's ballet, there's comedy, there's music, there's drama, there's musical theatre, there's opera, and I think we're so proud to keep that widespread of genres going. I don't think we're going to set out and say, right, all we're going to do is we're just going to put musical theatre on, because that is just going to block so much of our audience and so much of the Darlington and wider community wanting to come to us. I think that's the main reason why we are so popular, is the wide variety of stuff that we put on. I mean, it is crazy. Like last weekend, Horrible Histories, beautiful family show, and then suddenly into the Rocky Horror. You can get two completely contrasting shows in just a matter of days. So
and then you get 12-foot dinosaurs going on the stage as well.
And obviously, yeah, absolutely. And it's lovely that we remain a venue that is so family friendly. Just bring your kids and start from such an early age, whether that be Panto, whether it be Peppa Pig, Fireman Sam, whatever. Zog, yeah. We want to be all things to all people, and long may that continue.
Here.
Fantastic.
Well, that's a perfect place to wrap it up.
Hey, gosh, where's the time gone? Amazing.
Well, Julian, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure.
And for anyone listening or watching, please check out the Hippodrome, pop in, say hello, and get your tickets for the next shows.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.